Alright everyone, how are we all doing? My name is Trevon from freestudiotime.com, and today I'm going to go over what I think makes a good song from performance to engineering. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So what makes a good song? As you know, this is a very subjective topic, but I just want to go over what I've gotten as far as feedback from biased and unbiased sources in my time being a musician. So number one, musicality, which falls on the artist. When listening to any song, regardless of whether you like it or not, you should be able to tell who does and doesn't have the power to confidently express themselves through the microphone. The only way, in my personal experience, to build this aspect is by repetition and honestly the love for what you're doing. Also remember, a good mix can save an artist in many areas where he or she is lacking, but one thing a good engineer can't save is the lack of soul in your music. So I'm pretty sure you know what I mean by lack of soul. If you were to take a bunch of artists in Spotify and like put them in two lists, one that you would consider has that musicality aspect and one who doesn't, you notice the ones who don't really have that ability to comfortably flow within the mix, comfortably flow with their lyrics, rhyme schemes, melodies, everything. Those things just have to come together in order for it to come out to be a really pleasurable listening experience, and you give the engineer the opportunity to enhance that sound and really create something great. Always keep that in mind. Next thing that determines how good a song is how it was recorded. So in the past years, this has become a major issue because of the rise in home studios. If you're new to making music and just got your new mic and interface, make sure you know how to properly record your songs without being too close or far from the microphone. Also, be sure you're in a nice quiet room with a lot of carpet and fabric. Having different fabrics in your room minimizes the amount of background noise that enters your microphone, which saves you a world of headache when it comes to the revision stages of mixing and mastering. So I've already mentioned this before. Have the basics down packed. One of the basics is making sure that you at least have a decent sounding recording. No crazy background noises. When you get to specific parts, you can have none of that. If you have any crazy background noises, stop, re-record it, retry, do it all over again, because the problems you're going to encounter from those background noises later on will be such a freaking pain to deal with. So that's why I'm trying to save you that trouble right now by telling you, if you have any literally the smallest sounds, if you can hear it when you're talking and the beat or the instrumental or whatever is playing, delete it, because all you're doing whenever you're mixing that song is literally just making those vocals louder. So the little background noises that you may hear behind your actual voice will be enhanced along with your actual voice. So make sure that you get all of that stuff taken care of before moving on, because it can literally destroy a mix and just create a bunch of problems that can be easily avoidable. I actually had this experience with my living in my parents' house. There was a specific room that had absolutely no fabric, no carpet. It was just wooden floors and walls. I spent a few months trying to record in there, thinking that everything was gonna be okay, and all my recordings sucked. Every single last one of those recordings I did in there sucked. The only thing that saved me was buying the Chaotica eyeball. My friend actually suggested it to me. I talk about this a lot too. If you've been watching the past few videos, you'll notice I talk about the Chaotica eyeball a lot because it's such a lifesaver depending on what your circumstance is. In my circumstance, the room I was in was causing a lot of reverb and delay to get into the microphone. It was absolutely destroying my recordings. If you don't know what a Chaotica eyeball is, it's literally just like, it's very simple, a very simplistic idea. Literally just a layer of foam surrounding your microphone, and that layer of foam is blocking out, I say, about 75% to 80% of the background noises in whatever environment that you're in. So that 80% is so beneficial. It is insanely beneficial depending on what environment you're in, and it saved my mixes. And I was like, it was such a huge difference the first song I recorded with this thing on versus without it. So just try to figure out which method works best for you as far as eliminating those background vocals. Depending on your environment, you may need to switch your environment. You may need to buy something like a Chaotic Eyeball if you don't really have the means to switch your environment. Just try to make sure you can get the cleanest vocal takes as possible, and that's pretty much it. All right, so the next thing that determines a good song is how clear and crisp the vocals are in a mix. Also, how well your vocals sit in the mix. So this is another really huge problem a lot of people deal with. Now, your issue in this area could span across a long list of different things. The main thing to understand is the basics of mixing and mastering, and eventually with everything, it'll eventually fall into place. How well your vocals sit in the mix depends on what you're doing for the master track. Remember that the goal of mastering is to glue your vocals inside the instrumental, which is what's essential to even getting a close to pro sounding mix. What are you doing to blend your instrumental and vocal in the mastering? Is it EQ, or is it multi-band compression, or maximizer, or limiting? Is it everything? Figure out what works best for you. What I will tell you, you'll need right now, the basics for mastering a track. And nobody told me this when I started off. It was literally just mixing, and your whole song was complete. There was no mastering, though. No mastering when I was getting top. So, from my experience, you need a multi-band compressor. First off, you need a multi-band compressor. I mean, because the compressor is literally was gluing your voice into that instrumental. Second, you need a limiter. You need a limiter to really maximize that sound. Make sure you're hitting the loose, or make sure you're hitting whatever amount of decibels that you're trying to hit. Third, dynamic EQ. Third, you want to go ahead and add, well, not a dynamic EQ, but just like a regular EQ, to make sure that any frequency imbalances between your voice and the beat can be easily fixed right there. You have the whole entire frequency spectrum for the beat and your voice right there. So very useful for fixing those frequency imbalances or anything that is not prominent enough inside of the mix. But other than that, it's your total personal opinion. There's a bunch of different things that you can add to a master track to make it sound really good. I just want to give you the basics because all of those things I just mentioned are in your DAW right now. All right, everyone, and while we're on that note, if you're looking to learn how to mix your vocals with stock plugins, the ones that you have inside of your DAW right now, click the link in my bio and I will show you how to get the best results out of your stock plugins. But all right, everyone, I hope you got a lot of value out of this one. I'll catch you on the next time.